We look at Cleveland as you got to work a little harder, you got to shout a little more to get the recognition, but we're happy to do it because we love where we're from, and we're always grateful to represent our city, our industry. Our goal with this Midwest Nice Hospitality is to treat people with the kindness and respect that they deserve and be appreciative that they've chosen to come and support us. I think we've arrived. We've been here. We're appreciative that other people are now seeing it, but we're not going to do anything different tomorrow than we did today. But we're going to keep putting one foot in front of the other and feeding folks and telling stories and having fun and enjoying life. And that's what we're always going to do. I think it's what makes us Midwesterners. Like, we just are always a very appreciative people.
Yeah. Strong foundations and consistency. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Perfect Bite podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Perkins. As I continue to explore my new home of Ohio, I'm always trying to learn all about the best new spots to eat next. And even though I love Columbus, Cleveland keeps coming up time and time again. Today's guest is leading the charge in Seatown, and he does Midwest nice better than anyone else. I can't wait to finally have a meal by this 3-time James Beard nominated chef. Please welcome co-founder of Cordelia and his newest venture, ROSY, Chef Vinnie Cimino. Vinnie.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah.
You and I have connected over the last year just with our work through Eat Up Columbus, which is with Freedom a la carte and our friend BJ, but I'm so glad to just get your story and what amazing things have been happening over the last few years for you. It feels like a whirlwind.
It is a whirlwind. My goodness.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride. You know, Cordelia's been open. It'll be 4 years in July, and
amazing.
It's just, we've hit the ground running, and we just kind of keep going.
Yes, and Rosie is only like 2 months old, so it's going to be also like 4 or 5 months at that point. Your next baby.
Yes, we start week 7 today, so yeah, it's crazy.
Yes, I can't wait to get all into it. I always love to start at the beginning here. So tell us when you first fell in love with food. What was eating and cooking like in your household growing up?
My dad cooked mostly when I was growing up. My dad's from like a big Italian-Slovenian family, so he had 8 brothers and sisters.
Oh,
so my grandmother on my dad's side did a lot of cooking. She cooked professionally for a while and had her own restaurant in Kent, Ohio when I was growing up. So he did a lot of the cooking. My mom did a little bit of cooking, but I vividly remember all of our like big family functions were always centered around food. Big pots of tortellini and meatballs and just large amounts of food really at all of the family functions.
Incredible. Yeah, my mom's one of 9. So I get like the giant family as well, and the 20 to 30 cousins that you might have.
Yeah, exactly. And then my mom's side, very similar. My mom was one of 3, and my aunts and uncles all had, probably at least 3 to 4 kids. So it was just another big side of the family. And that's more like German and Northern Italian and Irish. And so it's just a lot of people always around. And all those functions were all, again, around, glorious amounts of food. And I would travel with my grandparents to different places, and we would always eat around. I ate my first oyster with my grandfather on my mom's side down in Alabama on the coast. So just a lot of very fond food memories through the family.
You're getting the different European heritages from both sides of your family. They're taking you outside the Midwest to try things. Again, I didn't try an oyster until much later in life.
Yeah.
Because again, we do not get them unless you are sourcing them very fresh.
Really?
I want to hear too, so growing up in Ohio, what made you fall in love with the food industry and cooking? I want to hear what sparked, wanting to actually work with food.
I enjoy eating food.
Yes.
So that was just kind of like a natural gut reaction. Well, I enjoy eating food. The understanding behind the cooking of it seemed like the next logical step. Honestly, I think it's kind of how it all really started. Like I said, I grew up around food, big family gatherings, and both my parents worked full time, so there was a moderate amount of cooking at the house, but definitely grew up with our fair share of kid cuisines and Stouffer's shake and bake kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But once I went to college in Charleston, South Carolina, you say you didn't have an oyster until much later. I had oysters when I was little, but I didn't have my first rare steak until I was a freshman in college.
There you go.
It was being out on my own, trying new things. Again, I enjoyed food and eating. So that just led me into the cooking aspect of it, I guess. I was working in a restaurant in Peninsula, Ohio called Russo's. It's like an Italian Creole restaurant. And I was serving, and 1 week, I believe two cooks went out sick or something happened, and they needed somebody to pinch hit for a little bit. And they're like, hey, you know a little bit about cooking food. Would you mind coming back and helping us out? And I was like, sure. And then from there, I just kind of never left. I really loved the camaraderie of the kitchen, the creativity, the working with your hands. I love to learn, and cooking to me is like this never-ending opportunity of enlightenment in so many different ways. And it wasn't even early, like then did I realize this is what I wanted to do. It wasn't until much later. But yeah, it was like my first step into understanding this is what I wanted to do.
So you got hit by the bug. And then again, going to Charleston, I went out to school in California. So I also had that opening of oh, wow, there's hummus and there's all of these gorgeous foods. And that's where it really struck for me too. It was wow, look at all of these things when you get outside of your little bubble and your comfort zone that you can find here. So what then led to Greenhouse Tavern and all of your wonderful years there?
So I started working in Cleveland at a restaurant called Ken Stewart's in the Flats. I'd worked for Ken Stewart in Akron. They're still around. So when they opened up their outpost in the Flats, I matriculated from Akron to Cleveland. I still lived in Akron, everything, but it was a different change of scene. Ken Stewart's in Akron had been the same and very unchanged over time. So this was a fresh opportunity to do more, to learn more, to grow. So I went there, helped them open. I think I worked there for a year and a half. And with Ken, I think I was with him in totality for about 6 years. But with everything, I was always looking to learn more and figure out, put myself in a room with people who were way more talented than I was. And I'd kind of felt that I hit my ceiling with Ken Stewart. So I applied to be a sous chef at the Greenhouse Tavern. And I think I staged for 14 hours one day and I really enjoyed myself and was lucky enough that they offered me an opportunity to become the fourth sous chef. And, it was definitely a bit of a conversation that I had to have with my wife because it was a $30-something thousand a year pay cut. And we just bought a house and we had a 1-year-old. So it was going to be a very large change. But I wasn't very happy with what I was doing at the moment. And this was an opportunity for me to actually pursue cooking for real kind of thing.
Yes.
So I did, and luckily it all worked out, I guess. I got promoted to being CDC of the Greenhouse Tavern, I believe, within the first 10 months I was there. So that helped out. And yeah, I just kind of kept trying to put myself in a room with people who knew more about food and cooking and culture than I did. And it's still very much what I do today. Very much an understanding that I'm unable to accomplish anything, not anything, but it's so much more rewarding and easier to accomplish things as a team than it is to do it on your own. So I love the team aspect of it all and doing things together.
Absolutely. And during that time, you also met someone who became, I imagine, one of your best friends and someone who is, become a huge team member to you, Andrew Watts.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your meet cute.
Yeah. So Andrew and I worked together at the Greenhouse Tavern. He was the GM. I was the sous chef, one of the sous chefs at the time. He eventually left, went to open up the Hilton and do other things. I stayed with the Greenhouse I think I worked for Jonathon Sawyer for roughly about 5.5 years in totality, somewhere around in there. But I eventually left and went and did other things as well. And then the pandemic hit and the world shut down and I started doing pop-ups and cooking out of people's homes and doing different, events and anything I could really to kind of keep myself occupied. And towards the end of that, I was establishing myself as being a very good vagabond cook around town, but I knew that I wanted to do something more sustainable. Yeah. And so I was trying to figure out what that next step was. And in this time period, I'd worked for a couple of folks in restaurants that didn't work out. We didn't see eye to eye on culture or what we wanted to accomplish. So I knew my next thing probably wasn't going to be working for somebody else. And then honestly, how Andrew and I reconnected is he had put out an Indeed ad that he wanted to essentially open up the next great Cleveland restaurant. And I was like, this sounds too good to be true, so I'll apply for it. Might as well see what happens. You never know. Yeah. And he reached out to me months, it might not have been months later, but it was a while afterwards, and asked if I wanted to grab a cup of coffee. And it wasn't until like later on that I realized that the Indeed ad that I had applied to was his. But we sat down and got coffee and talked about what we wanted to see out of the industry and the future of hospitality. And we were both very parallel in our thoughts that we wanted to take care of people better. We wanted to take care of people better than we were ever taking care of ourselves, and centered our ideology around the hospitality of folks. Coming out of the pandemic especially was a big jumpstart for me going into it for a cook, which was all about food and cooking. Right. And then all of a sudden the pandemic happened and the world shut down and the restaurant shut down, and there was nothing about cooking. It was about people. Without people, there are no restaurants. So my mentality shifted almost instantly from it's less about the food and more about the people. So that's just kind of where we went, and we were very aligned with, we wanted to take care of people better. And that was our number one guiding light, was that goal of innate hospitality. And yeah, we just had very similar ideals, and we obviously still do today, and we just want to try to do it a little bit better tomorrow. But yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell.
Yes. And so I love how we put it on Indeed. Like, this is very corporate. Like, you don't usually expect that for hey, I'm doing something entrepreneurial, who wants to essentially be my co-founder and be the chef.
Yeah, looking for a partner, looking for things. And I was like, okay, well, let's see what's going on. And it just happened to work out in that manner. But yeah, I mean, it was kismet, fate, however you want to put it. And we reconnected, and we always had a good rapport. So it was easy to pick off kind of where we left off. And like I said, we got into opening up Cordelia, like our ideals were so aligned. It just made things so much easier to be able to do, because at the end of the day, all we wanted to do was take care of our folks, feed our guests, enjoy every day, and just be appreciative of everything. And to this day, that's who we are now. We opened up ROSY for the sheer fact that to us, ROSY is this appreciation of opportunity, this outlook on life. We're here to celebrate today, grateful for everything that we have, and just want to keep it going.
Yes, the rose-colored glasses of it all here.
Yeah.
And being Midwest nice, which I want to get into a little bit more. Tell us about the inspiration behind Cordelia. So there's such a beautiful story on your website alone from Andrew's great-grandmother and how that has inspired everything. When people walk into Cordelia, how are they going to feel, and how is it different than any other restaurant that you might find in the Cleveland area, or comparing it to, say, other Midwestern cities?
Yeah, it feels like home, honestly. Walking into Cordelia, it's like a warm hug in a way. It's rustic. It's knickknacks all over the wall, less Cracker Barrel, but more like grandma's dining room kind of thing. But I think why it's so warm is because it was curated from us. And when I say that, like literally, the family photos on the walls are from his grandparents or my grandparents. My grandmother's restaurant sign is hanging up on the back wall. A lot of the plates that we plate food on were my grandparents or inspired by my grandparents, and we filled in with other urban foraging plates from thrift stores and whatnot. So, the silverware is vintage from like the 1950s, I believe it is. And it's just,
so cool.
It just feels so warm. It feels like it's always been here. And when you walk in, even if it's your first time, you feel like you've always been here kind of thing, that almost Cheers mentality of everybody knows your name kind of thing. That was always our goal, especially with this Midwest nice hospitality, is to treat people with the kindness and respect that they deserve and be appreciative that they've chosen to come and support us. Lots of other restaurants in the city, and, to be able to take care of folks is no small feat, something that we don't take for granted. So we love that we have the opportunity to make somebody's night every single day. And that's just something that's truly so special.
Yes. I loved the piece that our now mutual friend Chandra Ram wrote last year when you were nominated Best New Chef for Food and Wine. And she really broke down not only her perfect meal, but all of those little historical and reused elements throughout. And so I want to hear, what is your perfect meal at the restaurant? Or what are those dishes that every time you make it, every time you eat it, you're excited about it? And then tell us a little bit more too about if you're ever testing anything new or if you're kind of sticking to the classics here.
Yeah, honestly, our menu changes pretty frequently. There are some staples that haven't gone away since we've opened. Probably 40% of the menu stays. The rest of it is kind of free-flowing. We allow our cooks to experiment. We're a very seasonal space. We partner with roughly 23 to 25 different local farms all over Northeast Ohio, one a mushroom farm based out of Detroit. So in peak seasons, we allow our farmers to dictate what goes on our menu. We don't come up with ideas and then source. We wait for the farms to let us know what they have, and then we come up with something to do, which allows us to be creative and have fun and to do different things. And right now it's springtime, so we went out foraging for ramps this morning and got probably 30 pounds of ramps, and English peas are coming through the back door. We have rhubarb coming in. So now we have all these ingredients. But we didn't have a plan for them. Now it's just, all right, what are we going to do? Here's this. Let's think about some things. So it's fun and it's challenging and it keeps people on their toes, but also it brings people together too, because it's never one person's dish, start to finish, really. It's one person's idea that's morphed into this. And then somebody said, well, what if you did this? And somebody else says, it would go really good with this. And then next thing you know, you have 5 people having a conversation over one plate of food that turns out way better than it ever would have had if it was one singular person thinking about it. So it's fun to be in that seat, to be able to do it in that way. And we have such talented folks in our building, both front of the house and back of the house, that just make Cordelia what it is. It's just really special to see it grow and to evolve and to watch young cooks become sous chefs. And it's just a really fun thing. Yeah.
It sounds like the family aspect that you've always had, you've implemented it into the kitchen, and it's not, hey, one person's way or the highway. There's not the ego that you could see in some other situations here. And you're making people feel like this is the best home cooked meal they could ever have, but at that James Beard and plus level that we're getting here.
Yeah, we're very much in the mindset of like, listen, it doesn't matter whose idea it is. If the delivery driver coming through the back door has a better idea than what we're doing at the moment, that's what we should be doing. Like, there's no ego. If my ideas aren't the best, I don't care. As long as somebody else is coming up with other ideas that make them better, like, that's all that matters. As long as we're sparking conversation to be able to figure out how to do it better, that's where we want to be. Yeah.
Definitely. I feel like that's the best founders in any kind of business too, because as soon as you're like, no, this is my baby, everything has to be my way, then you're just never able to move forward and actually see change.
Yeah.
Do you ever work with the Chef's Garden at all?
Of course. Yeah.
Gosh, I love Farm.
Yeah, Farm Lee's amazing.
Such a sweetie. And just, again, the range of produce they have there is incredible.
Yeah, some wonderful things.
Yes. So at this point, you've really established Cordelia within Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I want folks to know this city has become, like, quietly and surely such a foodie destination in the Midwest. And I want to hear what you attribute that to, and how would you describe the scene compared to Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, some of these other spots where you're really seeing such incredible chefs doing their work?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with people who have left Cleveland and have come home, who have gone and worked in other cities and have brought their talents back home with them, the things that they've learned. The longest time, everybody wanted to get out of Cleveland. And now...
Right, go to New York, go to the Bay.
And they still are, but instead of staying where they are, they're finding that they miss what they had in the Midwest, and they're bringing their talents back with them and the things they've learned and applying them to Cleveland and to Northeast Ohio and creating new, interesting, fun things. I lived in Charleston for a number of years. Not to say that I brought a lot of experience back from that, but like, we have a bunch of Southern influence on our menu. I also spent a lot of time in the South because I was from Alabama. So bringing some of these travels that I experienced growing up as a kid or different places to Cleveland and just celebrating them in a very Midwestern way, I think that's been a big thing. And as far as people just now seeing Cleveland, I'm in the mentality that, Cleveland's been around for a while. Yeah, of course. Great restaurants that have come and gone and new ones that are opening up now. And I think the addition of Michelin now in the city, I think it's just an understanding of that, a recognition that, yeah, I guess more people will, I don't want to say take us seriously, but we'll hopefully have to fight a little bit less for some of that national attention. We look at Cleveland as you got to work a little harder. You got to shout a little more to get the recognition, but we're happy to do it because we love where we're from. And we're always grateful to represent our city, our industry.
And I think part of the misconception, if you're thinking like coastal or like even when I went to school in California, I'd be asked like, hey, can you go ask the hostess, do you like your Midwest nice thing?
Yeah.
Literally would hear that. And it's just being kind and understanding with other people. And I think what a big part of it is we're nice, but we're not pushovers. We don't roll
exactly.
over. We've had to work extremely hard. Again, I'm a longtime Chicagoan, so that's city of big shoulders, but that doesn't mean that you just let anyone roll over you. So I'm excited for the Midwest to keep pushing really hard here. And like you said, for people to take it a little bit more seriously, let's get some, not just nominations here, let's get some wins going,
Yeah. Like I said, people are always like, Cleveland's on the rise. I think we've arrived.
You're like,
We've been here. We're appreciative that other people are now seeing it, but we're not going to do anything different tomorrow than we did today. We're going to keep putting one foot in front of the other, treating people with the respect that they deserve, and feeding folks and telling stories and having fun and enjoying life. And that's what we're always going to do. I think it's what makes us Midwesterners. Like, we just are always a very appreciative people.
Yeah. Strong foundations and consistency.
Yeah.
My partner's in tech. And so when we talk about like when he's traveling to other places, when he's at conferences in these different areas of the country, like they've had to start raising money differently because they've had to start thinking like Midwesterners more, to be frank.
Yeah.
Just like long term and not so just pie in the sky, an ID on a napkin. It's what do you actually have? What are you showing up here with? And what are you going to keep showing up with? Which leads me to, let's talk about your next baby here, ROSY.
Yeah.
I want to hear why this was the right time. What's the inspiration behind it? How did you come up with that ROSY name? And I want to talk about the cooking methods that you're using here with the open fire, because I've seen that as well in Columbus at Metsy's for BJ's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As far as timing goes, I don't know if there's ever a right time or a wrong time. It's like having, you just do it. It's like having kids, you're never prepared, no matter if you had one or two or three, which is how it goes. But what we did know is that Cordelia we started looking around year 2. It was going really well. We were getting busier and busier. And our mindset is we always wanted to take care of people better and continue to give people more opportunities. So in order to give people more opportunities, there's only so much ceiling to having one restaurant. So we wanted to expand that offering and make sure that we're continuing to set people up for success in the future, and understand that if we don't provide something more for them, they will go and find it, which is great. That's what we want. We want them to find what they're looking for. We also wanted to be who they found it with, I guess. So as we were looking, we were just kind of exploring options and seeing what was going around. We probably toured 4 to 6 different spaces, and none of them were rights. And then we'd heard through the grapevine that the restaurant Alea, which is where ROSY is now, wasn't going to be reopening. And don't get me wrong, it's 1,300 square feet. It's 50 seats. We weren't going to be able to open up another Cordelia and be able to provide a ton of new opportunity, but it was that step. And I love cooking with live fire, so it was just a very much another kismet moment of right time, right place to be able to do it. And now ROSY's, this is week 7, and it's been incredible and such a warm welcome to the city. It's same mentality when it comes to hospitality, but just different format. And Cordelia, we refer to this as this like modern grandma, where it's like how we came up eating and what we experienced from our grandparents and that heritage. And so when ROSY was in early talks, we're like, what if ROSY's like our grandparents' grandparents? And we really take it back to the roots of the heritage and thought about food in that light. So it's old world techniques in this more modern wood-fired approach. And it still tells a story of who we are, just generationally a little bit different, and still celebrating food and people. Cordelia does it around grandma's kitchen table, and ROSY does it around the European backyard fire. But Yeah, commonality throughout. We have probably half the team at ROSY was at Cordelia at one point in time. That's been fun to have some of those people be able to teach our new people over there, like who we are and what not only the expectations are, but how we treat folks.
Yes. And tell us about the menu here too. So again, when I first heard wood-fired just here in Columbus, everyone immediately went, oh, okay, pizzas, right?
Of course.
And so in your case, you're really drawing inspiration from the Adriatic Sea countries.
Yeah.
And
So we're celebrating European heritage. Our first cut of the menu has been very much Adriatic and Balkan, and I have a lot of Slovenian and Slovakian and Italian and Croatian. So we started in that neck of the woods, and then everything's over a live fire. So we have a 50-inch wood-fired grill, 2 induction burners, an oven, and we celebrate cooking in that moment and what's here now. So it's a very small menu. We have 12 items, but we don't have a ton of space. So it works out that way. 50 seats. It's an absolutely gorgeous space that we worked with a local maker to help us build it out. And it's just stunning and perfect and quaint inside of this, wonderful little neighborhood. And yeah, it's been incredibly fun. And we're majority walk-ins too. So being in a neighborhood, we really want it to be a neighborhood focused space. So we do about 20% reservations and the rest are walk-ins nightly. And it's been really fun to be able to do that and welcome the neighborhood in that way.
Yeah, like you said, that backyard barbecue feel. But again, the European version of it, like maybe you got a lamb going here instead of burgers.
Yep.
And I think it's so cool that because it's such a small space, it almost feels like everyone's got the chef's table, right? They're almost all at the chef's counter.
Oh, yeah. You can see every bit of the kitchen from every single seat. And we do have a counter, 12 seats. I mean, you can feel the fire sitting there because it gets so hot.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. Well, Tim and I will definitely have to come soon and check this all out because it sounds incredible.
It's so much fun.
Oh, so again, you've had a lot of news lately. Congrats on your 3rd James Beard nomination.
Thank you.
I mean, what does that feel every time you're getting that sort of recognition? And what do you think, again, that people need to realize Ohio needs to have a win? Like, let's make this the year.
Yeah, let's hope so. How does it feel?
Do you ever see any upticks as well?
Oh, yeah,
business?
For sure.
Yeah.
Business definitely upticks. Honestly, it never gets old. It's always a very surreal thing. And this is our 3rd nomination, and it'll be our 2nd finalists.
It's like they're there. It's like right there then. They're like, yeah, we want this for you.
Yeah, it's honestly incredible. I get at a loss for words thinking about the things that we've been able to accomplish and where we are. What I think is even more incredible is how much our team celebrates it. It doesn't matter if it's one person's name on that list. Like, the team is so incredibly excited and happy. And I think that's the most special thing for me is I've been traveling a lot lately, doing some benefit dinners around the country and cooking in different places. And when the announcement came out, I immediately left the next day to go and cook. And I was home. It was a Tuesday, I think. And I just got home the day before. So I had literally one day home and I didn't go into work. And the entire team was just calling me and they got a cake and they were eating cake by them with each other. And they were celebrating everybody. And it's just like really, truly the most special, amazing thing for our team. Everybody's just so excited and just over the moon that we're here. And we're actually, I believe we're going to be shutting down both restaurants for the Beard Weekend. And we put a sign up sheet to see the first year. So 2 years ago, we bought tickets for all of our upper management and we went to the awards as I think an entire row at the Lyric Opera House.
Isn't it incredible in there?
It isn't. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Yeah. And this year, I want to say that almost 50 people have signed up and said that they want to go to Chicago and support. And I believe we, almost double the amount of tickets that we're going to be buying for the Beards alone, just because our management and staff has grown. And now we have 2 restaurants and everybody wants to come. And so I think that we're just going to shut the restaurants down for a couple of days and give people the opportunity to come hang out in Chicago with us if they want. But yeah, it's just, for the sheer fact that people want to just, even without us buying them tickets, want to come to Chicago and be there and support in that city in this moment. It's just, it's a wild thought, and it's just a really incredible feeling. So
it's really special. I mean, you guys have clearly built one big giant family. Yeah. And again, June is a great time to be in Chicago. It's not too muggy yet. You can get on one of those nice river cruises. That's always my favorite thing to do. And it is a really special feeling when you're there. I'm fingers crossed I get a press pass this year. And just seeing everyone so excited to celebrate each other. And then the after party at Union Station's so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So,
and then
hopefully we'll bring on some hardware this year and be able to win one for the hometown, and we'll see what happens.
Definitely.
Regardless, we're going to have fun and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to celebrate our people.
You're going to have the best time.
Yeah.
So, few last questions here. In addition to Cordelia and ROSY, something else you did that feels very familial was the Cleveland Family Meal project that you started during COVID. You were helping deliver fresh meals to those in need. 5-6 years later, how is that all still continuing? What does that work look like today?
So it's morphed into providing different things for folks these days, where Cleveland Family Meal was providing food and provisions during the pandemic, like things that people really needed in those moments, to now we're raising money to buy coats for folks in winter. We had a bunch of Ukrainian immigrants come in when the war broke out, and we were raising money to help provide living conditions and laundry services for them. And Cleveland Family Meal is also like sister under the umbrella of Food Conscious, which we just opened up a senior living facility in North Richville that's all centered around healthy living and healthy cooking and eating and food focused. So many things along those lines that we continue to contribute to in that way, that's not just providing for out-of-work hospitality professionals, but expanding into anybody within our community who needs some support centered around food-related entities.
Grown so much. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
That is huge. What do you see for the future in Cleveland with your work, with the team? What future ventures are you considering in or outside the city?
Yeah, we're just looking to continue to support our people, grow our community, give folks more opportunities to do great things. We love what we do. We want to continue to be there to mentor and to guide others and to be able to do what they want to do and give them the support that they need. And, at the end of the day, Andrew and I are two folks. We couldn't up Cordelia alone, let alone do anything else. So it's so much fun to being able to mentor and guide folks and be able to be there along the journey as they continue to grow and learn and develop and to become chefs and managers and everything else. I mean, those are, to be honest, are the things that make you feel the most. All the accolades that I've gotten over time are incredible, don't get me wrong, but like watching our team grow and succeed and to do more and more, and I mean, that's the real win right there.
Would you say that's what you're most proud of?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, everybody says that talking about a restaurant like family is, not everybody, but there's this new mentality that's negative.
Right. Like, don't call it your work family. Like, have some boundaries.
I think our people, it really is truly a sense of family. Like, they go out of their way to take care of one another, and we go out of our way to make sure that we're showing up and taking care of them the best way that we can through conversation and opportunity and guidance. And we're on the cusp of rolling out PTO for all of our staff.
Nice.
Both all of our full-time staff already has it, but all of our part-time staff as well. So it's just, hospitality starts inward. So we want to make sure that we're doing our best to take care of our folks so they can continue to do their best taking care of the guests who walk through the doors.
Yeah. I mean, it really is that thing of, if you do one nice thing for someone, then hopefully they turn around and do the same. And you just see so much less of that these days. Like, we are in some crazy times. And so the more that we can just be a little nicer to each other, a little Midwest nice, the farther it goes.
Yeah, always. And I really love the quote, the reward for good work is more work. And we're here for it. We're just showing up and doing the best we can today. And that way we can set ourselves up and everybody around us do good things tomorrow and get back to our community any which way we possibly can. And you only get one go of life, might as well make the best out of it.
Absolutely. Well, you're always giving back to others here. You're also dad, and husband. What do you like to do for yourself to fill your own cup and be able to get back to it?
I'm very fortunate that I love cooking and I love what I do. So what I do every day never really feels like a job. But when I'm home, I garden. I'm never really stopping moving. I enjoy working with my hands and just curating and building things and playing with the kids. My son and I went on a walk yesterday to the park and threw the ball around and just small little bits. We went out this morning and foraged for ramps, like just connecting with nature. Well, I joke and tell people one of my favorite hobbies is sleep. I really love sleep. Probably the one hobby I don't get to do enough of, but maybe eventually.
Honestly, when you get one of those naps out of nowhere and you're allowed to take that time, it hits so hard.
So good.
Yes.
So good. But yeah, I enjoy spending time with my family, my wife and kids, and we have a dog and a cat and 2 chickens. And
Gotta love the chickies.
Yeah, just doing work at the house and being present in that moment today.
Yes, love it. Well, Vinnie, last question before the world's best and hardest question here. What's one piece of advice you'd like to give someone who's looking to start anything on their own, whether it's within food and bev or any other industry?
Yeah, the hardest part is starting, honestly. That first step will always be the hardest thing to do, and having the confidence in yourself to be able to do it is probably even harder. So the biggest piece of advice I would say is just start a square one and do it, because you don't know until you do. And then even when you do, you're going to learn a million new things on how to do it. And then it'll constantly be an evolution of growth.
Definitely. Take the first step and see what the others look like after that.
Yeah. You don't know until you do it for the first time.
Yes. All right, Vinnie. Little reminder for folks. This is called The Perfect Bite because it's not only a perfect bite of our friends along the value chain of food and bev, but because each of us has our own perfect bites. So something you've eaten, a recipe, a memory, a moment where every time you think about it, it makes you smile. So Vinnie, what is your perfect bite?
Wow. Well, I'll give you my perfect bite at Cordelia.
Okay.
And it's something that I come back to time and time again. But the very first dish we ever ate at Cordelia I was making during the pandemic out of an abundance of carrots. And it's our roasted carrot muhammara, an amalgamation of what muhammara was supposed to be, but made with carrots and instead of pomegranate molasses or date syrup and so many different little tweaks, but it was what I had in my pantry at my house at the time. So that dish is still on the menu today. And every time I eat it, I'm just always shaking my hands damn, I always forget how good it is. And it's gone from making it 2 quarts at a time at my house to now making, 80 quarts a week of it at the restaurants. And just every single time, it's that is just so freaking good. So that's my Cordelia moment. This is just an amazing bite. One of my other outside favorite bites actually came in Charleston a couple years back. Eating at Chubby Fish was very much an aha moment of such a small, petite restaurant cooking such wonderful food and seasoning things differently than I had experienced before. And they have this caviar sandwich at our table we probably 4 rounds of, and it was just not obviously caviar is good and everything that you're eating caviar is amazing, but it was how they treated it and how they thought about food differently and thought about that dish differently. A warmed caviar sandwich was something that I'd never thought of or expected. And it was just that moment of thinking about food just a little bit differently. It was just such an inspiring moment.
Beautiful. I always love analyzing the answers as well. And I feel especially your carrots is very reflective of your own journey. You started with a great foundation. It might have started smaller, but it's grown so quickly. Very true. Every time you go back to it, it's that same consistency. It's perfect. I love it.
It's so good.
Vinnie, thank you again so much for your time, your wisdom, your beautiful stories here. Can you let folks know where to find you? So locations for Cordelia and ROSY, social accounts, websites, anywhere else we should look for you.
You can find our restaurants in Cleveland, Ohio. Cordelia's downtown on East 4th Street, 2058 East 4th Street, right in the entertainment district. ROSY is in Hingetown, so it's right across the bridge, about 5 minutes away. It's 2912 Church Avenue. And then socially, you can find us on Instagram at Cordelia CLE, and I believe it's rosy.restaurant, I think it is. And you can find me socially at Chef Vinnie Cimino. So, come hang out, have fun. That's what Midwest Nice is all about. Yeah.
Yes. And we'll include that all in the show notes too. So I'll write that out for everyone.
Great.
Vinnie, thank you again so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This was Chef Vinnie Cimino's Perfect Bite.
Thanks for tuning in to The Perfect Bite today. You can listen to future episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Thanks in advance for subscribing, rating, and reviewing. You can follow The Perfect Bite on social media @PerfectBitePod. Now go get something good to eat.